Hi, and welcome to Code Tutorials. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the horizontal progress bar block, which is part of our key blocks for Gutenberg plugin. Right now, we're on a page dedicated to showcasing this block. It has several examples of horizontal progress bars added to it, so you can see what the block does as well as how you can use and style it. They are here to give you an idea of what this block can do and how you can use it on your pages and potentially combine it with other page elements such as background colors, images, buttons, and more. As you can see, the horizontal progress bar block is designed to help you show off your progress or accomplishments in a neat visual form. Beyond setting the titles and fill for the progress bars, you can also style the bars themselves. You can combine colors, thickness, opacity, and numerous other details to create a progress bar that would integrate with your site perfectly. On top of that, you will be conveying hard facts to your visitors in a way that's easy to digest. So, all this might look and sound great, but how do you set the block up? Well, that's what we're here to find out. You're going to need a page to work in. I prepared this one. As you can see, I did some prep work. This is because I will be adding my horizontal progress bars to a section with other design elements. You can, of course, set it to stand by itself, but I feel like the additional content will help me set the scene for this tutorial. And this content, I just want to briefly explain, is something I added using the single image block, and the text I added using the section title block. Both are part of the key blocks for Gutenberg. Alright, now I just need to add the horizontal progress bar block to the page. You can add the block to the page by clicking here. It opens the block selection. There is a search function, but you can also scroll through this list to find the block you want. This section will show all the blocks you have on your site. So that means both Gutenberg blocks as well as anything else you may have installed, such as key blocks. By the way, you can easily tell the key blocks apart by their reddish pink icons. And the way you add your block from here is via simple drag and drop. So that's one way, but there's also another. And it might allow you greater precision when adding something new to the page. So the second way to add a block to the page is by clicking on the black plus sign button within the page. But if you can't see the button, or if you're in the middle of your content like I am, then you can select the section by clicking within its space, or you can select a specific element also by clicking on it. And then you can use a keyboard shortcut to add a new block under whichever thing you selected. So I want to add a horizontal progress bar block under my section title. And to do that, I'll keep the section title selected and then I'll press Ctrl, Alt and the letter Y on my keyboard. And voila! In case you're working on a Mac, the shortcut you'll be using is Option, Command, and the letter Y. Okay, and now we have room to add a new block and the Add Block button with it. Click on it, and it will open this window with a view of some blocks and the search bar. Using the search bar, start typing the name of the block you want to add, and when it appears, click on it. It will automatically be added to the page. There we go. And this is what the block looks like by default. We have one progress bar, a preset percentage value, and a dummy title. When you're ready to start customizing your horizontal progress bar block, you should go through the Content tab first. And the topmost option here is the percentage number. Simply type over the existing number to set a new percentage value. I'm going to use 41. After that, we have the percentage type option. Basically, it lets us pick the position of the percentage number by choosing one of the options in this drop-down. Let's go through them. The default setting is floating above, and we can see how that looks on the left. The number is positioned at the end of the filled or active part of the progress bar. If we switch to fixed above, the number will be placed at the end of the progress bar. We also have the floating on setting. It has the number floating along the inactive part of the progress bar. And finally, there's the fixed on, which has both our percentage number and the title text overlapping with the bar. For my plan design, I'll go back to using floating above. Alright. Following that, we have the option to enable gradient fill. If we enable it, the active part of the progress bar will allow you to use a combination of two colors with a gradient transition. If we decide to use this, we'll get two options, one for each color that will allow us to customize the look. Let me show you what a change might look like. I plan to keep the gradient and its default color setting, so I'll click here to make the field with the color code editable, and then I'll copy the color that's already there. I'm doing this so I can put it back later. Now, if I set something new, we can see the gradient color start option has changed the color at the beginning of the line. Okay, I'll paste the code for the default color so I can get it back. There we are. Then we have the second color option, the gradient color end. I'll do the same thing here that I did for the first one and copy the hex code. Then, if I change the color, we can see how the gradient has adjusted to blend the colors and how the end of the line matched what I set. Alright, I'll paste back the original color. There. The next option after that is to enable pattern fill. It allows us to add a pattern image that will be displayed as the inactive line of the progress bar. So if I switch this to active, we'll get a new option where we can upload an image or choose something from the media library and have that appear as the rest of the line. Let me show you what I mean using an example from the blocks page. Here on the left, we can see several horizontal progress bars which use pattern fill. This is an image covering the inactive part of the line, and as you can see, it's best to use an image showing a pattern, hence the name, pattern fill. Okay, I don't plan on using this, so I'll go back and disable the option. There. After this, we have the animation duration option. This is where we can set the speed of the animation, which makes it seem like the bar is loading. The value is in milliseconds, so if I shorten this to 500, the progress bar loads much faster. I prefer keeping the original speed, so I'll restore the default duration. Okay. And our last option is the title, where we can replace the dummy text serving as the progress bar's title, this here. Give me a sec to enter my content. And there. Underneath this, we have the advanced section. It contains only one option, the additional CSS classes. This is where you can create a specific class for this element, and then you can use that class and refer to your element when creating CSS that would style it. And that's it for our first options tab, content. The next one is style. In the style tab, we can adjust how the bar will look. One option is to add a border to it. Simply select whichever border type you want. That's basically how the line for the border will look. I can have double lines, a dotted line. There are different possibilities. I'll use solid to show you. That's the plainest one, just a simple line. Then we can adjust the border width or the thickness of the border line. We have distinct fields for each side, so we can make different adjustments for each one. For example, I'll make the top different. And we can see that only the top side of the border has become thicker. And if you don't want to have differently set sides, you can click here to connect the fields into one. Then you only enter one value like this. Actually, that's the same as the default, but I can easily increase the border width altogether. There we go. Other than the border width, we can also adjust its color. Simply set whatever color you like with this user-friendly color picker. As I don't plan to use a border, I'll reset all these options now. Width done, and the border type is none or default. Okay, that's taken care of. Moving on to the next option, we have the active line color. It allows us to change the color of the active part of the progress bar's line. Before I can show you that, I need to go back to the Content tab and disable the gradient fill. And now that we have a single color line, I can easily change its color to anything I like. I'll keep this setting for a bit so I can show you another option, the active line opacity. Using it, we can make the line more opaque or more transparent. The default line setting is completely opaque, but you can change that. At 0.76, it has a touch of transparency. But if you'd prefer something more obvious, then you can further reduce the number to get a more transparent line. You can see the change to the line here. And with a partially transparent active line, we'll be able to see the inactive line under it. Let me show you. If I set a new color for the inactive line, there. The active part became darker as well, since its transparency allows some of the new color to shine through. Now, I randomly set another shade of red for the inactive part of the progress bar, but you can just as easily set something that contrasts. For example, this. We can see the overlap of colors again on the active parts of the line. If that's not something you'd like to keep, then you can remove the transparency. Just a sec. Okay, and there's also an opacity option for the inactive part of the progress bar line. It works the same as the one we saw for the active part of the line. By adjusting it, we can turn the line transparent to a degree. Okay, let me clear this. The next option we have is the active line thickness. If I increase the value here, we can see the active part of the line has become thicker. And we can use this in combination with the inactive line thickness option below to differentiate the lines in this aspect as well. So if I reduce the inactive line thickness, it really makes the active part, the one that actually indicates progress, more noticeable. But that's just one idea for a possible design solution. However, it's not what I plan to do for my lines. So I'll restore the settings to their original values. I'll also clear the colors because I want to use the gradient fill and the colors I have for that. So I need to go back to the Content tab and enable the gradient again. Alright, that's it. Now let's get back to the style options. Before I move on to a new one, I want to change the inactive line opacity. Specifically, I want to make the line invisible. And to accomplish that, I'll set 0 here. The inactive line is fully transparent, we can't see it anymore, and all the attention can be focused on the active part, or the progress. Okay, then I'll increase the active line thickness to 5 pixels. Alright, and the inactive line thickness isn't relevant for me because the line itself isn't visible. All of this brings us to the text style section of the options. It's subdivided into title options and number options. Starting with the title options, we have the title tag, which we can use to change the tag for the title text here. You can set anything from H1 to H6 and even the P tag. I'll switch to using H6 for my design. Then we have the title color option, so we can make the title text any color we like. I'll keep the default. And under that, we have the title typography settings. They contain options such as the font family, where you can pick one from the hundreds of available fonts. Then we have the font size, where we can change the size of the title text. After that, we have the weight option, which comes with all these different settings that you can use. Make your title light or bold or anything you like. Then we have the text transform option that allows us to turn the title to uppercase, lowercase, make it capitalized, or keep it normal, which is the same as the default setting. And using style, we can make the text italic, for example. Then, with the decoration option, we can add a line under, over, or through the text. Finally, we have the line height and letter spacing options, in case we want to make any spacing adjustments to the text. And that's it for the typography options. Following that, there is the title margin option. With it, we can adjust the space around the title text. If I link the fields, so one value would be applied equally to all sides, and set 20 pixels, then we'd have those 20 pixels at each side of the title. So that's one possibility. Let me clear this. The other is to disconnect the fields and enter different values for different sides of the title. I plan to just add 10 pixels at the bottom, like so. It separated the title from the progress bar a bit, and that's all I needed. The other sides can stay blank. And those were the options for the title. Moving on to the ones for the number. Here we can change the number color. It has this familiar color picker, so you can easily set any shade you like. I'll clear this as I want to keep the default one. Then we have the number typography settings. It's the same collection of options that we saw with the title typography, so I don't think there's any need to go over them again. I'll quickly change the weight to medium 500 and we can move on. Alright, there. And under that, we have the number margin option. It's the same as the title margin option that we've seen already. And the only thing I'll do here is set 10 pixels for the bottom margin to have the number match the text. And that's my element done. But the video isn't over yet. I've done all I wanted with my horizontal progress bar, but I want to make a few more of these for the same section. And I'll do that by duplicating this bar that I have ready. That way I get to keep all the style settings and only have to change the title and percentage number. But before I do that, I'm going to briefly go to the Advanced tab. We generally don't cover this tab as the options here are something you get with each one of the key blocks for Gutenberg. They serve to set how an individual block will look and act on the page. For example, we have responsiveness, motion effect, background, and many more settings here. But they aren't specific to the horizontal progress bar block, which is why we won't be covering them in this tutorial, with one tiny exception, the padding option here. As I will be adding more blocks to the same page section, I'll add 58 pixels as the top padding. This will create a buffer of space between the different progress bars that I will be making, as the padding will be duplicated along with all the other block settings. So now all I need to do is click to open the additional options and then go to duplicate. And there, brand new progress bar with all the same settings. I'm going to skip ahead now while I customize and duplicate more bars. You've seen how that goes, so there's no need to waste your time by going over it again. And here we are. I made 4 more progress bars, so I have 5 in total. They are all styled the same, which makes them look like an integral unit. And of course, I customized the content of each one so they differ. And in the same way, you can make more bars or fewer bars, however many you need to show off your progress. To round out this video, let's take one last look at the page we started from. Now that you know how this block works and what options it has, as well as how to use them, you can easily copy any of the designs from this page, or you can take them as inspiration or a starting point. The possibilities are numerous. The important thing is that this block will easily fit with whatever site design you already have or want to create in the future. Combine it with other page elements and create attention-grabbing details for your site. And if you have any questions after watching this video, or comments or suggestions you'd like to make, please drop us a line in the comments section below. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and be the first to learn about any new tutorials and theme guides. Thank you for watching.